Though he has quite a number of good games under his belt, Rayman has never been as ubiquitous as a Mario or a Sonic. In spite of its title, Rayman Origins isn't about the limbless mascot's genesis. Its objective is to bring him back to his roots in pure 2D platforming. Rayman's world has been agitated by unknown forces, and that's about all you'll get in the plot department, so go out there and make things right by rescuing the caged Electoons found at the end of each level, whose presence is needed en masse to progress. Each stage harbors a couple of hidden areas housing the pink sweeties who literally call out to be rescued, nullifying the thrill of the hunt to a degree. Speedrunning or finding massive amounts of lums, Rayman's bulk collectibles, will also help the effort. Unless you're very thorough, prepare to replay each level to squeeze every last lum or come up short in the tally. After you conquer the 5 worlds, you're asked to take a second lap through them in any order you want, with new levels challenging you to use all the abilities you've unlocked along the way. The Pangea of tumbling mats that make up a level take clever cues from each world's premise. Plump cocktail weenies can stand in for platforms, and giant snare drums will turn into launch pads. The integration is top-notch, always with the spotlight on jumping forward, but Rayman's adventure, for all of its imaginative imagery, takes a hit for being too simple-minded, with very few standout segments between your heroic vaults to the right. Many enemies might as well be hostile scenery, and underwater segments, love 'em or hate 'em, conceal some of the most ingenious moments of the game. The standard levels are broken up with chase scenes, where you'll have to save a fairy who will then bestow an ability upon you that ends up defining the world Rayman currently occupies. Rescue even more Electoons, and you can try the devilish, tricky treasure chest chases, which are the key to opening the final optional world of Undead Grannies. The only time Rayman really stops his platforming is when he jumps on a mosquito and starts shooting, which acts as a great tension reliever. That tension can be further alleviated or aggravated by adding another player, or 3. Slap-happy chaos can emerge from the multiplayer, especially as the numbers rise. 2 players is the sweet spot that allows for some helping hands and daring jumps, with little fear of restarting an area, with surviving players able to tag in their bubbleized comrades. Jumping is the pillar of Rayman. While he'll gain abilities to slap, shrink, float, and run up walls, they're mostly complementary to the tumbling act. The diving ability is its own beast, though the underwater bustle and inertia still matches the hectic flow of drier land. Slapping is unlocked almost immediately and used for pounding trampolines and knocking out enemies, most of which you can take out by jumping on them. The shrinking power in particular just seems completely situational. You'll only use it when the level calls for it. Bosses of the memorize and conquer variety show up in the second lap to test your skills and often put a spotlight on the abilities you've gained. The hidden Electoons and runaway lums will require brains and bravado to collect, but general progression demands undivided devotion, especially in the later levels where mechanical precision is needed to corner chests and escape certain death. It's here where the simplicity of moves and options shines, as everything boils down to a test of reflexes and reaction. Since there's no real randomness at play, rote muscle memory can overcome any obstacle course given enough time. Reverse engineering any screen becomes its own challenge, replacing carefree exploration for exacting mastery, which is its own type of reward. Rayman and the worlds he traverses are 100% hand-drawn and exquisite. The Saturday morning cartoon style rests on the borders of nostalgia and kitsch, with lowbrow aesthetics trumped by an insane level of detail. You might be racing through the game most of the time, but it's worth it to find a spot of sanctuary and just marvel at the fluidity. The original Rayman was criticized for showing off its large sprites to the detriment of the playfield, but there's times here where you'll wish you could pull out a magnifying glass and simply observe. The music and sound effects complete the picture, with twee grumbles and hums making the hurdle over annoyance. The UbiArt framework that powers Origins makes a great debut, and we're wringing our disembodied hands, wondering what else will be done with it. With platformers enjoying a big resurgence over the last few years, it makes sense that Rayman Origins has an anachronistic feel. Challenging levels, mosquito breaks, amusing multiplayer, and a hard-as-nails reward for perfectionists assures its place in the platformer pantheon. It just lacks a little of the sparkle that could have helped battle the fatigue of coaxing out every last lum.